Hey everybody, welcome back. This video is going to be round 3 of the NYOA series, Seneca Highlands. I'm running the quad at Junior A class. We have 9 entries for the class this week, so it's a little bit bigger than what we've seen in the past. This is the shortened, condensed version of the video. I'm going to leave a link in the description below for the full race video if you want to go back and watch some of the sections that were cut out. But that being said, let's go ahead and get this race started. Coming into the first corner, we have Josh Adams grabbing the whole shot. I'm in second, but as you'll see in this next corner here, I end up going a little bit wide, and we see that Cody Marvin is able to come in through the inside and take that position away. So we have Josh Adams in first, Cody Marvin in second, and I'm in third. But I'm going to try to make some moves in these field sections to see if I can regain some of those positions. In some of these corners, I'm noticing that Cody is kind of braking a little earlier than what I would brake. So I know that if I come through this next corner, all I need to do is just stay on the gas a little bit longer, and I can make that pass happen, which is exactly what I do. Next step is going to be trying to track down Josh and make the pass on him. As you'll see through the video, the conditions from the day were pretty much perfect. You can see there's a little bit of dust out in the fields, but really nothing terrible. You can always see where you're going, right? It's not really impairing your vision too bad. And the woods are pretty much perfect. Any more moisture out there, they would have been really slick, but this was about as good of conditions as you could get come race day. At this point, I know that Josh is a very fast rider, so I'm just going to try to tuck in behind him and see if we can pull away from the rest of the group. I'm also going to experiment a little bit with some of these lines early on in the race, just to see if I can find a route that might be a little bit quicker. But so far, it seems like these lines are all pretty even in the amount of time that it takes to get through them. I end up following Josh for quite some time here. We come through, there's another field section, but skipping ahead in the video here to about 5 minutes, we're coming through another wood section, and there's going to be a split line up ahead. And Josh is actually going to kind of go off to the left and check up, let me go by and give me the lead here. And that just allows him to tuck in behind me and kind of run my pace and maybe conserve a little bit of energy. But I only have this lead for a little bit. I end up coming through this next corner. I look over my shoulder. I see a red Honda. I didn't recognize who it was. For some reason, I thought it was another class coming up on us, which doesn't really make sense. So I let them by, realize it's Alec Matthews, who's actually in our class. So now he has the lead. I'm in second, and Josh Adams is right behind me. I'm going to try to just pace off of him for a while, right? You'll see in the video, I end up riding behind him for most of the first lap. I come up here, try to take another line. There's a random cinder block sitting right in the middle of the line, which kind of slows my momentum up. But don't lose too much time, and I'm just going to try to tuck in behind him for as long as I can, run his pace. But you can see early on, he's actually pulling away from me pretty easily. Keeps getting farther and farther away from me, and I'm just trying to keep him within my sights. You know, having somebody that you can see and pace off of makes it a lot easier out there, but once they're gone, it's very hard to make that time up. But I get really lucky. We're coming through this next somewhat tighter section, and he ends up stuffing it into a tree up here, which I go to make the pass, but he's actually able to get unstuck pretty quick. He keeps the lead, but at least I was able to really close that gap up. And now I know I have to be pushing. I cannot let him expand that gap anymore. I don't want him to get out of my sight and run away with it. I just need to stay right here, right on his rear grab bar for as long as I can. I end up staying back here behind Alec for quite some time. You can see 5 minutes ahead in the video, and I'm still about the same distance behind him. I'm pushing 2, but I can't really close that gap up anymore. I'm trying to get as close as I can, but he's moving at a pretty good pace, and I really don't feel comfortable pushing any faster at this point in the race. We were also pretty lucky up until this point because I think there was a bottleneck early on this first lap that held the rest of the class up. So us top 3, we were able to kind of pull away and get a gap going, but early on somebody rolled and kind of blocked the trail, so most of the rest of the class was stuck back there for a little bit of time. It gave us a little bit of a cushion to kind of go out and run our own pace for a little while. Skipping ahead to a little over 20 minutes into the race, and I'm noticing that Alec's pace is starting to slow up a little bit. I'm not sure if he was getting tired right from running out front and pushing too hard on that first lap, but I did notice that the speed slightly slowed down, so I kind of figured this would be my chance to make a pass. I just have to close this gap up a little bit and then look for another line to get around and take the lead. And at this point, I felt pretty comfortable getting into the lead. We were most of the way through the first lap, so I felt like this would be a good time to make a move for the lead. Once we get into this section, I know this is my chance to make a pass for the lead. I'm really comfortable riding in rocky conditions like this, so I know I can move at a much quicker pace. At this point, I'm just looking around, trying to find alternate lines, see if there's a way to get around and take the lead. And as we come up to this next corner, I find one off to the left. It's just a quick jump up this creek bank, and I'm able to quickly get back out onto the track and make the pass for the lead. Once I gain the lead, my next goal is going to be putting in a good solid push and opening that lead up a little bit, trying to get out of sight from the other riders. That way I can settle in and start to run my own pace. I feel like I'm moving at a pretty decent pace, and then this stick comes out of nowhere, and I'm just really lucky that that did not go straight through my radiator. It ends up getting stuck up in my front bumper. It's pretty distracting at this point. I'm just kind of worried about what's going on with the front end. I come down this hill, I hit a small kicker, and then this is where my big mistake comes. I blow right through the berm, end up in this really soft, loamy dirt, and the quad kind of sinks down in it, and I'm just stuck on this tree at this point. So I pretty much blew the lead here, and I'm going to be stuck in this dirt for quite some time. You can see everybody's just going past me, not only people in my class, but people from rows behind me as well. So I went from having a decent lead to making a small mistake that gets me stuck in this dirt. And this stuff is so soft that no matter how I turn the bars to try to get unstuck, the quad just keeps pushing right through and going straight. And as soon as you stop, it just sinks right in the dirt. So at this point, I'm a little bit frustrated that I had the lead, and now I'm about 2 minutes off pace here. I sped up the footage so you didn't have to sit through everything. But here, I finally get unstuck and I'm able to get back out on the track. I see some other riders coming up, so I pull off to the side, just letting them by. It's Cole Burlew, who's actually in my class, and Frank Howe from the Vet A class. At this point, I'm just so frustrated with that mistake I just made that I'm not focusing on racing. I'm just out there trying to get back on the track. I'm not really moving at the pace that I should be moving at because I'm just so stuck in my own head, being frustrated with myself. My head's still not in the right place. I just end up letting Josh Warhol go by. He's from the Vet A class, and I'm still just not really in the race at this point. I'm going to pull up here, still going pretty slow, so I pull off, let a few other riders go by. It's Colin English and Michael Williams. Colin is in my class. I didn't realize it at the time. I thought he might have been a double A2 rider. I didn't recognize him, and he was a day rider with a different number, so I wasn't sure that he was in my class or not. Michael Williams was in the double A2 class. I think he had an issue earlier in the race where he may have hit a tree or something, and I think that's what put him this far back. I'm going to try and use Michael's pace to pull me back into the race a little bit. We come through this section, there's a nasty bottleneck off to the right, so we all dip off into the woods and try to find a line out here. You can see we're getting a little bit off track, but we're just trying to find our way back out into this field section, which is where the track actually goes. Looks like some of that bottleneck cleared up, and there's now 4 of us running together through this next section of woods. For this race, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to make it the entire race without having a pit stop. I did a gearing change after the last race, which would cause me to use a little bit more fuel, and this was the longest track we've had so far this year. And since I had so many issues this first lap, I just decided to pull off, get a quick splash of gas. That way I didn't have to worry about it, and I could just charge the rest of the race and try to keep moving forward and not have to worry about stopping or running out of fuel. Almost 41 minutes into the race, and I finally come through the finish line for the end of the first lap. At the end of the first lap, it was Alec Matthews in first, Pat Lane in second, Josh Adams in third, Johnny Minahan in fourth, Colin English in fifth, Cole Burlew in sixth. I was in seventh. Cody Marvin was in 8th, and Dylan Willis was in 9th. So you can tell I'm pretty far back in the pack. I definitely liked to be a little farther forward, but I know, at this point I'm just trying to charge my way back up, maybe salvage a top 5 if I can. Not too far into this second lap, I'm able to catch back up to Michael Williams. I'm going to try and follow him and run his pace. I think he's running a decent speed. I probably should have been pushing harder, maybe tried to make it pass, but I'm just going to follow him for a while and let him pull me back up to the rest of the pack. After riding together for a while, we end up catching up to Cole Burlew. He's going to end up pulling off to the side here and letting both of us by. I think he realized that I was in his class, so he's going to try to keep up with us for as long as he can. Coming up this hill, for some reason I see this terrible line. There's a branch hanging right in the middle of it. I don't know why I decided to go this way. I have to check up to get between these 2 trees. Cole is able to hold it wide open and just blow right past me. So there we go, losing another position again. I really got to get this race figured out if I want to move forward at all. I'm trying to stay close to him. I know I need to be right on his grab bar to make a pass, but sections like these where I'm just eating roost coming up these hills, all those small rocks hitting you, it's not the most fun place to be in, but if you want to make a pass, you have to be close to the person in front of you. About a minute later, I'm still not able to make that pass happen, but it looks like he's starting to have some kind of a mechanical issue or something. I see he keeps looking down at the quad. It looks like on the results he only was able to complete 1 lap, so I'm guessing he did have some sort of issue with the quad. Hopefully he gets it figured out, but luckily he pulled over there for me and let me by before he was really stuck out in the middle of the track, but hopefully he can get it fixed for the next round and come back out with us. I end up riding by myself for about 5 minutes before I come up to the next group of riders. As I get closer, I realize it's Johnny Minahan right in front of me. He is in my class, so I know I need to put on a charge to try and gain another position in my class. He's moving pretty good though, so it's not going to be easy. Johnny's been having a lot of issues with his quad this year, just small stuff. So it's nice that he was able to actually get back out here and finish a race without any mechanical issues going on. The first race, his seat kept popping off. Then I think the second race, his throttle broke. So he was just having some small issues. Here he kind of blows that corner a little wide. Looks like he might be looking down, maybe missed a gear or something. But I'm able to make that pass without too much of an issue. And I think, again, that is Michael Williams right in front of me. And I'm trying to close the gap up again on him and just follow him to keep moving forward in my class. I thought this section was a lot of fun. Good flow to it, just a little bit of rock underneath it, and good dirt where you could really move. Lots of twists and turns and the roots starting to come out, but overall I thought this section of the track was a lot of fun. Of course, this section was my favorite part of the track, so I'm going to throw the clip back in here even though we already watched this on the first lap. You had a nice little natural tabletop there in the middle of this rocky creek bed. Just so much fun, a good flow going through here. I had a blast riding through this section, and I think a lot of other people did too. Shortly after that creek section, with the help of a lapper, we're able to close the gap up on Josh Warhol, and this is where it starts to get fun, right? We're very close. Anybody can make a pass on anyone at this point, and it's just fun actually riding with other people this close. Sometimes when you're racing, you can be out there by yourself for an hour sometimes and not see another racer, but when you get to battle like this, it's a lot of fun. At this point, I'm starting to feel more aggressive, so I give a yell to Michael Williams. He points me by. I'm going to try to pick the pace up, and I actually get a glimpse of another rider up ahead of us, and that's going to be Alec Matthews, who's in my class. That's going to motivate me to push even harder and try to make up another position in the class and just keep moving forward. We come back up on that corner where I made my mistake on the first lap. I get up on two wheels a little bit, but it's okay. I am able to make it through without too much of an issue. I'm going to follow Josh Warhol. He takes a line off to the left. Alec Matthews checks up a little bit, lets us both by. So that's another pass for position there. Not sure if he knew that I was in his class. He may have made me work for it a little harder if he knew that I was in his class. But overall, happy to gain another position and to keep moving forward. This was another one of those sections of the track that I really enjoyed. Kind of tight, technical, a little rooted, and a little rutted as well. But overall, a pretty fun section of the track, right? I like when they get pretty technical like this with the roots coming out and not much room for error. It kind of slows the pace down just a little bit. I put this clip in just to show you how slick this track was getting. Come up on a lapper, he almost spins totally out, trying to get out of the way. But once we got down into the moisture and some of the rocks started coming up, it was really difficult to find good traction out in the woods. And it was real easy if you just give it a little bit too much throttle in the woods to spin out just like that lapped rider did. Coming into the end of the second lap, that's actually Colin English right in front of me. He's in my class, even though I didn't know it. Coming through the finish line, I tried to squeeze the front brakes, and I don't know if my arms were pumped up. I really didn't mean to bump you, Colin, if you watch this, so sorry about that. And if I knew you were in my class, I wouldn't have revved at you and asked you to get out of the way for me. But at the end of the second lap, Pat Lane was in first, Josh Adams was in second, Colin English, he was in third. I was right behind him in fourth. Johnny Minahan was in fifth, Alec Matthews was in sixth, Cody Marvin was in seventh, and Dylan Willis was in eighth. And Cole Burlew did not make it through that lap, so he ended up staying in that ninth place position. Back out in the field sections again, and I'm able to catch back up with Josh Warhol trying to run his pace. I know he's moving pretty good, so I feel like we can kind of work together and work our way up through the pack and maybe catch some more riders. This section doesn't look that bad, but I swear it was one of the nastiest sections of the track. The braking bumps here were so deep, you had to stay off the brakes and just kind of flow through them. And if you didn't have your shocks set up right, it would have been real easy to get tossed over the bars or off the quad. It looks like nothing on camera, but coming down that hill into those braking bumps was definitely one of the trickiest sections of the track. Pretty quickly into this last lap, I actually ended up running out of water in my Camelback, and once that happened, I started fading fast. I was really just trying to make it to the end of this lap. I was running low on energy. You can see I'm just really slowing down in these corners, making small mistakes. I think this next corner up here, I'm trying to turn, and I end up just blowing right through the rut, going too wide just because I was just feeling so exhausted without having any kind of hydration or anything out there. The camera ended up actually dying a little over halfway through the last lap. The last little bit, I ended up getting Josh Adams back into sight at least. We had a little bit of a battle. He really put on a charge as soon as he saw me coming. I never really got close enough to make the pass, so he ended up finishing in second, which is great for him. Pat Lane took the win. I finished in third. Colin English was in fourth. Johnny Minahan in fifth. Cody Marvin in sixth. Dylan Willis in seventh. And Alec Matthews in eighth. This is how the points are after the first 3 rounds. Thank you for watching this video to the end. If there's anything you'd like to see different in these videos, let me know down in the comments. I'm going to try to make one of these for each round of the NYOA series. Our next race is going to be Knobby Acres, and that's a few weeks away. So if there's anything you'd like to see different, let me know, and I'll try to make it happen during the next video. Thank you.